Now, if you haven't heard, the Chicago Bears have just signed Grady Jarrett to a 3-year, $43.5 million deal. Jarrett was recently released by the Atlanta Falcons. His release sent waves through the NFL because he's been such a staple on the Falcons' defensive line for over a decade. So when the Bears had the opportunity to sign him, GM Ryan Poles didn't hesitate. He made the move quickly, and it's a huge step for the team in the right direction. Let's take a moment to really think about what Grady Jarrett brings to the table. We're not talking about a player who's just entering his prime. No, Jarrett has already had an illustrious career that spans over 10 seasons. He was drafted in the 5th round of the 2015 NFL Draft by the Atlanta Falcons, and ever since he stepped onto the field, he's been making plays. This is a guy who has consistently been a difference maker. In fact, in 2024, Jarrett started all 17 games for the Falcons, registering 53 tackles and 2.5 sacks. Now, some people might look at those numbers and think, okay, that's decent, but it's not spectacular. But what those numbers don't tell you is how impactful Jarrett is in the trenches. Jarrett is the kind of player who demands double teams, which opens up opportunities for other defenders to make plays. He may not always rack up a ton of sacks, but his ability to collapse the pocket, eat up space, and free up his teammates is invaluable. This is the kind of player the Bears need on their defensive line, someone who can disrupt offenses and make life harder for quarterbacks. Let's take a deeper look at his consistency. Over the course of his career, Grady Jarrett has been one of the most reliable players in the NFL. Out of all his seasons, there's only one year where he played fewer than 14 games. That kind of durability is rare in the NFL, especially for a defensive lineman, where injuries can be a common issue. Jarrett's ability to stay healthy and perform at a high level year in and year out makes him a tremendous asset for any team. And for the Bears, this means they're getting a player who's going to show up every week. And that's something every coach loves to see. But what really sets Jarrett apart from many other defensive tackles is his leadership and experience. The Bears have a lot of young talent on the defensive line, and adding a guy like Jarrett will only help to elevate their game. Grady Jarrett is a proven veteran who knows what it takes to succeed at the highest level. He's a Super Bowl caliber player who can mentor the younger guys and help them grow into better professionals. Having a leader like him in the locker room and on the field is going to make a huge difference. Let's also talk about his background. While his regular season numbers are impressive, what really makes Grady Jarrett a special player is his ability to perform in the clutch. Remember Super Bowl LI? Jarrett had an unforgettable performance, sacking Tom Brady 3 times and completely disrupting the Patriots' offense. That kind of big game experience is exactly what the Bears need as they continue to build a competitive team. Jarrett has been through the highs and lows of the NFL, and he's learned how to handle pressure. When the lights are brightest, you want a guy like Jarrett on your team. He's been there, done that, and he knows what it takes to win when it counts. Now, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What does Grady Jarrett's signing really say about the direction the Chicago Bears are heading in? Well, it's clear that GM Ryan Poles is prioritizing building a competitive team through the trenches. In recent seasons, we've seen the Bears struggle in both the offensive and defensive lines. The offensive line has had its issues protecting the quarterback and creating running lanes, and the defensive line has had problems getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks and stopping the run. But with Grady Jarrett, things are starting to change. This is a guy who can come in and immediately make an impact. He's going to give the Bears a presence in the middle of the defensive line that they've been lacking for years. His ability to stuff the run and collapse the pocket will make life much easier for the Bears linebackers and secondary. Now, opposing quarterbacks are going to have to account for Jarrett in the middle, which is going to open up opportunities for everyone else on the defense. Whether it's getting pressure on the quarterback or stopping the run, Jarrett is the kind of guy who can make it all happen. But it's not just about one player. The Bears have made several key additions this offseason, and when you look at how everything is coming together, you have to feel excited about the direction of this team. For example, the Bears also signed center Drew Dalman from the Falcons, which is another crucial move. Dalman is going to help solidify the offensive line and create better protection for Caleb Williams, the Bears' future franchise quarterback. With a strong offensive line and now a dominant defensive line, the Bears are looking much more competitive as they prepare for the 2025 season. And speaking of the trenches, let's talk about the Bears' defensive line rotation. This is something that's going to be huge for the team moving forward. With the addition of Jarrett, the Bears now have a much deeper defensive line. They've already got guys like Gervon Dexter, who's a rising star in the league, and Andrew Billings, who's a strong physical presence in the middle. Adding Jarrett into that mix just gives the Bears so many more options. Dexter is going to benefit greatly from having a player like Jarrett around. Jarrett's leadership and experience will help Dexter develop into an even more dominant force in the NFL. And don't forget about Billings, who's known for being tough against the run. With Jarrett in the mix, the Bears now have a defensive line that's tough to move off the ball, they can stop the run, and they can rush the passer. The depth that this group now has is going to make the Bears a much tougher team to deal with. And let's not forget about the versatility. Jarrett can line up at multiple spots on the defensive line, giving the Bears a lot of flexibility in how they deploy him. This is a defensive front that can be dynamic, and that's something every coach wants. So, what's the impact of all this on the Bears' defense in 2025? The defense is about to get a major upgrade. With Grady Jarrett in the mix, the Bears now have one of the most powerful, deep, and versatile defensive lines in the NFL. They're going to be able to stop the run, get after the quarterback, and dominate in the trenches. This is going to make life so much easier for the linebackers and defensive back. If the Bears can consistently disrupt the opposing offense, it's going to give the entire team a massive boost. And remember, the NFC North is a tough division, with teams like the Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions both looking to improve. The Bears need to be tough, and this signing shows that they are ready to compete. Now, let's talk about the grade for this signing. If I had to give it a letter grade, I'd give it a solid B+. It's a fantastic signing that will have an immediate impact on the Bears' defense. Grady Jarrett is a proven playmaker who can step in right away and make the defensive line better. The only reason it's not an A is because of Jarrett's age. He's 31 years old, which is not exactly young for a defensive lineman. But even with that in mind, this is still a great signing for the Bears. So where does this leave the Bears heading into the 2025 season? Well, the Bears are making huge strides, and they're positioning themselves to be a major player in the NFC. They've addressed their weaknesses in the trenches, and now they've got a team that's built to win up front. With Grady Jarrett on the defensive line, this team is going to be much tougher to beat. What do you think of the Grady Jarrett signing? Are you as excited as I am about what he brings to the team? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more updates on the Bears as we head into the 2025 season.